programming stream. It's kind of a relaxing, get little done kind of a stream, but let's see what I can do. Don't have any huge agenda with these streams. It's just kind of like all my streams, it's kind of just do stuff, turn the camera on kind of situation. And this song is repeating beyond its limits, so let's skip it. Let's see here. OBS. One of these days I need to simplify all my scenes. I have just too many scenes to look at. It takes me a million years to click on anything. So this is where we left off, except, I don't know, for maybe a half hour after I ended the stream, I copied some of this stuff over, but now I'm realizing I want to change it up. So I already asked AI for a question on something, so I'm going to just paste this in here and do a little bit of a change. Basically, how I had it before, or it still is this way, I have 3 different field sets for each of these 3 chunks here. Oh, I got the CSS all fixed too, so it's basically perfect now. So if I, before I get, I'm distracting myself doing parenthetical statements like always. So I, instead of doing 3 field sets, what I'm going to do, actually, correction. I'm still going to have 3 field sets, but all of these radio buttons are going to be named the same so that you can only select one at a time. Like currently you can select these as 3 separate field sets, which doesn't make sense. You can't play once and repeat at the same time. So I'm going to put them all in the same radio name so that, you know, if you select this one, it'll deselect that one, and so on. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this continue off because I thought of it after I ended the stream. It makes no sense at all. Because play once is the same as continue when you think about it. Because if you play once the chapter, you're continuing verse by verse. If you play once book, you're continuing chapter by chapter. So continue literally is redundant and it's confusing. So I'm going to take that out, but I am also going to add something I've been wanting to add for a while. It's not a high priority, but I just figure I'll add the interface buttons for it, and then I'll add the logic later because it's going to be pretty complicated. But I've been wanting to have like a meditation mode where it will essentially repeat each thing, each verse a set number of times with a pause between. So like just imagine, like for example, if it was reading this verse 5, it would say, "Who then overcomes the world? Only he who believes that Jesus is the Son of God." Who then overcomes the world? Only he who believes that Jesus is the Son of God, and so on. So basically what it would do is it would have 2 modes. One mode would be fixed length, so you could have a pause of 1 second or 2 minutes. You know, I don't know. I'll set some logical limits on it so it's not like 10 hours. But essentially, you can tell it to pause for a certain number of seconds, or there will be a percentage parameter so that, and I might just simplify it and make it only percentage because I think that might suffice, but I might do both. But if it's a percentage, then if it's say 100%, the pause length will be exactly the same length that it took for the not text to speech, but the voice to read. So if it takes 10 seconds to read this verse, the pause will be for 10 seconds. If you say a 200% pause, it will be for 20 seconds, and so on. So for example, if you're wanting to repeat after it in order to, like, say, memorize a verse, for example, which is, I think, probably the most useful purpose, you would set the pause to probably like 125%. Like if you're a little bit slow of a reader, it would say it, and then you would have time enough to say it yourself, and then it would say it again, and you'd repeat after it, kind of a thing. Sort of like a responsive reading. But if you're using it just as a way to meditate, like to think about what you just heard before and then hear it again or something, then you could maybe set it for like a minute pause while you just silently pray while you're hearing what you just, you hear the verse and you maybe pray about it or think about it, or maybe you're writing in a journal and you want time to write it down or to write something about what you just heard. Obviously, you could do the same thing by just pushing the pause and play button a bunch of times, but if you just kind of want to sit back and experience it in a way, that's kind of what the meditation mode will be for, which, as far as I know, there's no website in the world that has this feature. It's just something I want to do for my own use. I don't know if I've thought about that before, but sometimes I do actually write verses in my journal as I'm contemplating some passage. And so if you had a long enough pause for me to write it down, that's something I could do. I'm a little bit picky on when I write things down. I don't want to make mistakes, so I always look at the screen and make sure I get the punctuation right and all that. But it's hard to say whether that'd be useful, but some people might use it for that. I think what I would use it mostly for, though, is trying to memorize things. Like I would set it. So for example, if you had it on meditate mode, I think I'm not going to have the Bible icon for that, because that's kind of crazy. Like nobody's going to listen to the entire Bible in that mode. But I might have it for book and chapter, and maybe not. I might have it for verse too, but definitely not this icon. So these three would probably be there. So what it would do is, if you have it set to meditative mode on verse, whatever verse is actively playing, it will repeat X number of times. So you'll be able to say how many times it repeats, how long it repeats, how long it pauses between playthroughs. So you could have it play one verse 10 times and then be done. Or if you have it on chapter mode, it would play each verse 10 times until it reaches the end of the chapter. Even book is arguably a little bit excessive. I don't think most people would use this mode for something so long, but I'm going to leave it there because I think that's kind of reasonable. But the whole Bible is, I don't think I'll have that there. So that's kind of what that's going to be about. So I need to rearrange how the inputs are for this continue. I'm not going to call it continue, but I think I'll call it word hide. Just as a tie, because I was thinking about calling it meditation mode or something, but it's more than that. It could be used as, that's not a bad term. It kind of covers a lot of things, but you could use it for memorizing. So somebody might say, well, call it memorizing mode, because that's what I use it for, or repeat after me mode, or responsive reading mode. But I think word hide covers all that, because that's essentially what the purpose of the website is. So and plus you're hiding the word in your heart that you may not sin against the Lord. And whether you're meditating on it or memorizing it or just focusing on it in some way, that concept covers it all. So I'll probably just call it word hide. And then, so I asked AI to rewrite these field sets to have the same name. So all of them have the name of playback mode for all 8 radio buttons. And I might change these legends to H tags, but I think the reason originally I was actually thinking to get rid of the field set entirely and just use whatever, a div, like a containing div, because field sets have a lot of CSS issues that I found out last stream. I eventually canceled out all the built-in browser CSS for a field set, but it is gross. It's genuinely disgusting what browsers do to field sets. It's very difficult to manually style a field set because you have to undo, like cancel out a bunch of default styling. But I eventually got that to how I like it. So just as a quick demonstration here, if I put this in to simulate a mobile phone or something, it works now. So like they don't wrap strangely, they don't take up a smaller width than the screen. So when it, as soon as it has enough space, it puts 2 versus 3 versus 1, however, it just looks good. So we got that styling figured out. Took a while, but now that this is no longer going to be continue and it's going to be word hide mode or whatever, I'm going to put that on its own separate line essentially. So really it'll just have to wrap these two, play once and repeat. I think it still makes sense to have word hide under playback mode to some degree. The only thing I haven't brainstormed out and fully fleshed out in my mind is let me take this off of mobile. If it's in meditative mode, I don't know if that will always cancel out play once and repeat. I tend to think it will, because I don't think they're compatible with each other. So I have to figure out if like the playback mode radio group needs to include some button in the meditative mode or not. Probably, to be honest, when I think about it. Probably. So if I'll probably have these 3 buttons in the meditative mode, not this one. And I think if you click on one of these, it would probably uncheck these others. But we'll see. I'll work through that as I get further into the... I never do like wireframes or like write documents or strategies. I just kind of wing it. And then as I discover, oh, that didn't work, then I fix it. It may not be the most efficient way to do programming, but I'm not a formal developer. I just kind of hack my way through, so it's not, I don't feel bad about that. It's a way that works for me, and each person has to figure out how they're going to do their stuff. And I'm so late in the game of development now. I did it for 15 years of my career, and I've stepped away from it for 10 years. I'm not about to go reinvent myself and try to be a proper modern web developer. I'm just kind of making my way through. So those 2 are fixed, and then I need to come down here and add these into the same radio group by changing their name. So the way that radio buttons work is as long as they all have the same name attribute, they are considered a single set. That's just how it works. And so then instead of just Bible, we're going to have word hide Bible, I think. I still like meditative mode or meditation, but yeah, I can always change it if I want. So instead of continue, we're going to have word hide. And I'll get rid of that first Bible one. That might be all that I need. The other thing that I might do is put it in a separate container for the 3rd group, because it's kind of a separate thing. That's probably not a bad idea. And the other thing I realized yesterday is I didn't know it at the time, but by giving anything a class of container, I was unknowingly wrestling with some default styles because container is a bootstrap class, so it adds some of its own CSS on that class, so I had to like undo that. And sometimes it's easier just to come up with your own name, like you just call it container1, something stupid, but you know, instead of container, call it a row, or a but row is also probably taken by bootstrap, so you got to think of your own terminology. You can either do that, or you can just use the built-in classes and do a contextual CSS override. Like for example, you don't want to like override every single instance of container, but like here what I'm doing is I have container with all my stuff, but it's inside this modal audio, so it only overrides containers that are inside the modal audio. And I could take that a step further if I wanted to and only override, and this might actually be a wise thing now that I'm thinking about it. Only override a container if it's inside the modal body. That way, if there's container somewhere else, it's not going to mess with that kind of a thing. Because you definitely don't want to like put CSS on every single row or every single container if it's going to mess up your layout elsewhere. It's got to be thoughtful about that stuff. I think that will be appropriate. I think it would probably be fine leaving it where it was, because I don't, like, I could probably double check that here, but as long as there's no containers in this code right here, like a container class, it wouldn't have any negative effect, which I can pretty much see that there is nothing has a container class in there. But just to play it safe, make it as specific as needed. So I added this third meditative mode, which I need to call it Warped Hide or whatever. I need to come up with some logo to, I guess I could use the site logo. Let me see. Don't remember where I put that, but let me think about it. I think that's an okay way to go. I'll have to add some CSS to it, probably. But we'll try that. See what happens. And then I'm going to have to add some inputs for the time, the delay, and other stuff. So let me play around with that a bit. I'm not exactly sure how that will look. Hello, Solman. Okay. Yeah, I should talk to Steve about the icons. Or, I don't like programming, but I could probably help Steve, the guy that does Social Stream, by fixing some of that stuff. But, I don't know, he's so good at it that it makes me feel like I'm kind of wasting my time. Like if I were to fix the images on Beam or fix the issue on Pixel, for example, I probably could, but I would spend like hours on it probably because I'm so bad at programming, and then he would be like, oh, I can do it better and he'll just like fix it anyway, so it feels like a waste of time. But I don't like just asking him to do stuff all the time because he has, I don't know, I feel like he has so much to do. If I have other inputs like delay and repeat quantity to add in relation to one of the field sets, should I add them outside the field set so the field is only radio buttons, or can they be in the field set that they are related to? I don't fully understand the semantic purpose of field sets, to be honest. Field set element is used to group related form elements and improve accessibility by providing a clear logical structure to forms. It allows screen readers and other assistive technologies to understand the relationship between grouped elements, including a legend element inside a field set. Further clarifies the purpose of the grouped elements. That said, you can definitely include additional inputs like delay and repeat quantity within the same field set as the related radio buttons. This approach keeps related controls logically grouped, enhancing the form's usability and accessibility. Okay, yeah. I kind of figured that was the case. I just wanted to be sure, because the only reason at all to use field sets, I can tell you this just point blank. There is no purpose for field sets other than accessibility. They don't serve any purpose, because they're not seen visibly unless you choose to style them. But you could do the same thing with a div or any other container. So the primary, and I would say with some authority, the only purpose for field sets is for accessibility and screen readers. So that's why I'm adding them, because I do want to try to make it accessible, but unfortunately I don't have extensive knowledge on accessibility, because back when I did web design it was only kind of a growing concern. It wasn't like a huge... There was no governing agencies telling you have to do it or a huge backing behind it. It was kind of just some people knew about it. I would say 95% of web developers didn't do anything about it. It's just kind of an afterthought. That was back then. It's probably... I don't even know if that's changed, to be honest. It probably has, but it's up to each site to try to be accessible or not, and I would like to try, but since it's not something I know a lot about, I'll have to just make improvements as I go along, or if somebody points out, you know, if somebody goes to my GitHub and says, hey, I use a screen reader and I have a hard time using this page, can you change this or something like that, then maybe I would address it at that point. But anyway, we'll just start out with the best that I'm capable of right now and improve it as I go. So, and all that to say, I can make this input inside the field set and probably be okay. Let's see. I'm so behind the times though. What's the best input type for an integer of seconds that might have a timer style? Scroll wheel on mobile for selecting integers. some of this stuff. I know this stuff, but I don't like having to go research on the internet, like finding sample code, so it's just faster to have AI write it for me, essentially. And we're going to call this delay instead. Gap, delay or gap, I don't know. I have to think about this. What's a reasonable maximum? I think I need to do like step of, oh, let's see, actually. There's going to be 2 delays. There's going to be delay fixed, I think. I'll like rethink this terminology later. I just need some kind of filler text for now, and then I'll come up with refined words. The problem with this is if I don't have a minute and a second option, imagine having to like scroll through a wheel of like 3,600 seconds, and that would be 60 minutes? No, wait, 60. Yeah, that's 60 minutes. That's huge. It doesn't need to be that big. I need to think of like what would be the longest reasonable time that somebody might want to do. No one's going to want to sit there for 10 minutes between repeats, I don't believe. So maybe like 3 minutes is enough to be the maximum, which would be 180 seconds or so. Yeah, I think that even 60 seconds is probably more than enough, to be honest, but I want to give it some flexibility. Two minutes is a long time, but I guess if you were using it, like I was saying, as a way to meditate and prayerfully consider what you're reading, you might want it to be a couple minutes, but not like 10 minutes. I mean, that's just crazy. I'll stick with 3 minutes for now, and I can always change it later. And then we have delay proportional, I guess, or percentage. And for a percentage, I feel like probably 200% is enough. I'll just start with that, and if I decide it needs to be longer, and I think step of 5%, even 10% is probably adequate granularity, but I'll just start with 5 and see what it feels like. Okay, that should be good. Wish there was like shorter ways to say certain words like that everyone understands. I could put like sec, but I'm not sure that everyone would understand that, but let's change this to seconds. All right, let's just upload that and see what we have. Looks like I introduced some kind of error. Let's see what we did here. Okay. 5718. Yeah, we got some JavaScript conflicts going on because I'm changing the names of things that were formerly controlled by JavaScript. So that's what I was talking about earlier, that I'll have to rename some of this stuff. $16. Is that what I called it? Playback mode? Yeah. This is gonna break, like it won't work. But I need to just get around that error so I can render the screen. Okay, so I need to upload audio player, JS, index, and CSS. Alright, that seems to have temporarily kind of fixed it, but I definitely need to do a bunch of JavaScript writing to truly fix it. That's kind of what I thought would happen. I need to give this some styling. Also, before I get too deep, I like to use my other browser for this, so let me close this down. Dude, Melody. Melody. Is that a diamond, you crazy freak? What are you doing? I'm really nice to my donators. I try to encourage them to never do it again, but I appreciate that though. Thank you. Oh, it's MD. For some reason I was associating you with Dale Bull, because he keeps changing his name and he pops in with these random names. I'm like, oh, that's probably Dale, but I was wrong this time. Hey MD, how are you doing? Good to see you. Haven't seen you in a while. Appreciate the diamond. I am working on a Bible project. Not sure if you've seen me doing this, but that's kind of my latest thing is programming. Tom Sawyer Bold. Oh my goodness. There's the Dale. There's the Dale. Couldn't remember what his latest name was. Thanks, man. I'm okay. I'm doing okay. I got my ups and downs like usual. Wouldn't be myself if I had everything in order. Don't really expect to achieve that in this lifetime. Okay, if I'm gonna make this 1.3, I need to do some. Dale just absolutely loves this kind of content. He's all about the programming stuff. Let's try something weird like this. This might actually work. Okay, I'm gonna try that. Dale is all about the nerdy programming stuff. Sometimes I let him teach me everything he knows about programming. Might not take very long, but sure he is. Yep, that's his deal. Like, that's kind of his signature move. He's got like equations and code segments kind of falling out of his face. Yeah, I'll scare him away in about 3 minutes or so after I've exhausted my small talk capabilities, which if I can make it 3 minutes, that would actually probably be a personal best. Definitely not my strength, but give it my best. Give it my best shot. Okay, so vertical line negative 20% should do. All right, I'm all out. Okay, Dale, it's time to move on. I've completely lost all of my banter abilities. I have to go back into nerd mode and scare you away, my friend. 2 minutes left. Now, dude, 3 minutes is like my personal best, and I'm not in my best right now, so not at my best today. I almost went to a meeting this morning. I was trying to stay up all night to make it so I'd use a little bit of social energy, but I didn't even make it to that. So I don't really have an excuse for being so pathetic in my conversation abilities. It's just being true to myself, I guess. Wait a minute, what just happened there? By the way, I don't like that expression. Be true to yourself. Like, oh, what does that even mean? But I do try to be honest. Like, I don't try to fake it, you know. I guess that's what it might mean to me, but just wanted to swing by and say what it do, and you're appreciated, bro. Thanks, man. I appreciate you guys too. I'm glad you're part of the community. Sorry I don't have more cool stuff to keep you hooked to my channel, but that's never been my intention. I'm kind of good at scaring people away. It's kind of my specialty. I wonder if I can... I don't know. I've never actually tried this negative margin thing, but it might work. Love ya regardless of issues or struggles. Yep. Same. There we go. Okay. Ah. Sorry, I'm in the zone. Oh, I think if I do negative 0.3 and vertical margin 0, it's perfect. Looks good to me. Who knows if it'll work on every device? And Dale is going, what the crap are you talking about? You're losing me. You're losing me. Sorry. It's just the way it is. So negative 0.3. I tend to have that effect on people. Like I can't even, I don't know. The list of reasons why I'm not a successful streamer is too long to list. I could come up with so many. I'm so bad at talking and stuff that if I go into somebody else's chat and start chatting, even though I'm enjoying myself, I think I scare people away. It's just the way I am. And I'm not trying to, but literally if I've seen this literally hundreds of times, so I know it's not my imagination. But if I go start chatting and somebody's just give you a perfect example. If I go start chatting and gives a minute, like a lot, like I talk too much, everyone else stops talking. And then if I do that same thing in like my friend Kame Dukin's chat, same thing. It happens every single time. I just have this effect on people. They just like, ooh, Flo's here, and you'll actually see the viewer count drop while I'm there. Same thing with high res. If I go and talk to high res for a few minutes, I try to keep my chats to a minimum, just because I know I'm gonna kill his channel if I stick around too long. It's funny. I like it. It's actually kind of a meme for me, personal inside joke meme. All right, man. See you around. Thanks for hanging out for a bit. What the crap are you talking about, Willis? Arnold never said crap. I shouldn't say crap either. It's kind of like one of those borderline words that's kind of offensive to some people. I adopted it in my high school years. It was kind of I was part of a pretty cool group of guys that we didn't swear and, you know, do all the cool people stuff. You gotta do stupid stuff to be cool, so we never did that, but we had a few words that were like on the fence back then. Now it's not a big deal, but I still wonder what people think about some of those on the fence words. But I'm not here to please people. Anyway, such is life. Okay, that's looking pretty good. I wonder, can't test it on my phone because I'm using my phone as a camera, but I'm guessing that'll look alright. So I need to change the colors on those, and I need to fix the styling on the rest of the stuff. I think what I did is something like a fixed width for every child of the flex box is probably what's going on here. So that's why these Gilbert, Hayes, and Sawyer are overlapping. That's why this input is nasty looking. So I'll have to revisit that CSS. Let's see. The cool thing about that, though, like, that is true. That's not my imagination. That's actual fact. You could, if you saw there, it's kind of like watching Task Manager. You see this straight bar and then it jumps up or it jumps down or something. As soon as I enter somebody's chat, it goes down a little bit or a lot. And then as soon as I leave, it slowly ramps up. It's literally true. I don't feel bad about it. I actually think it's hilarious. But because I care about my fellow streamers and friends, I don't stick around too long, or I just kind of lurk. That's actually one of the reasons I lurk quite a bit. It's because I care about them and don't want their viewership to tank. But anyway, it's funny because... what was I going to say? Oh, yeah, it's like the cool thing about that though is that I don't know if those streamers notice that or not. They probably do, honestly. Um, but they also think maybe it's just their imagination or something, or they're just the cool thing about it though is what I want to say about that is even though my mere presence, just my name in chat, tanks people's viewers for whatever reason, they're gracious and kind to me anyway. You know, they don't say, "Hey, Flo, tone it down there. You're killing the vibe" or something. They just let me kind of have my few sentences of silliness, and then I check out of chat. It's kind of my way of just quickly saying hi and then moving along. But yeah, it's funny. That's how you know you have a true friend, is that even though your mere presence tanks their viewership for a moment, they're still gracious and enjoy chatting with you and whatnot. So I have some real friends, and that's what it tells me. So it's actually an encouragement more than a discouragement, believe it or not. Let's see. The other thing that's possible is maybe maybe I'm like Neo, the Matrix guy. Like, I have this nerdy, energetic power in me that literally dispels all bots and fake viewers. So maybe instead of actually tanking real viewers, what I have is this ability to absorb like negative energies of bots so that they like fold into the matrix and disappear out of existence. So it's kind of like if you have an agent on your tail, like Agent Smith or whatever his name is, like you got 17 fake viewers on your channel, I can just like pop into chat and just type something. And by virtue of me typing something, I'm creating this vortex of technical magnetic energy that just kind of acts like a small EMP that destroys the bots temporarily. Obviously they regenerate just like, you know, Agent Smith does, but temporarily I'm actually killing the bots just for a minute. So that's one way to look at it. Quite possible. I don't think I have those powers, but you know, sometimes you don't know your own capabilities. Okay, let's see. All right. Oh, I need to... I don't know. It's getting to the point now where I should probably use a class on these, but... yeah. Let's go that direction. Let's do radio book, radio Bible, radio book, radio playback Bible, something like that. Let's see. Yeah, that should work. Class equals radio playback Bible. And we got radio playback book. And we got radio playback chapter. And we got radio playback Verse. Hey Leo, thanks for the lemon. I just missed all the crazy excitement with Dale Bold and MD Wit dropping in. Okay, I feel like I'm missing something, but that is close, so we'll just upload that. Let's get these on radio playback Bible. So I don't have to have all this extra stuff. Oh, shoot. No, I guess I do need that plus span thing in there. Upload index and main, that should do it. Good. Oh, that's awesome. It's already working in that sense. So you can only select one of these buttons at a time. If you watch closely, you'll see that highlight go away when I click down here, over there. Very nice. Not sure why those inputs are basically right on top of each other. I can't even see the other one for some reason. So there's two. Oh, there must be a... I bet... Oh, yeah. There's got to be like a... Yeah, there's a syntax error in there. Okay. It's like, why isn't it showing up? There we go. So now I just need to, I guess, let's see. One thing I could do on these inputs is just say delay over here and then put this input and say sec after that, or just even the letter S probably would be enough. And then put percentage. Yeah, that's good. That's more concise. Let me ask AI what it thinks. I might do a second field set just for the delay. Let me get it close to what I want first. So we would put seconds here and then do like this. And then I don't need the 4 anymore because it's already wrapping around it. And then get rid of this label. Okay, something like that, but then I need like a I don't know if I should have that S hanging out there or what. We'll just see what AI has to say about this. Hopefully it'll steer me right. See the two inputs at the bottom. They are both related to delay. So basically, I want it to say delay first input seconds, second input percentage, except S and percentage respectively. However, I'm a little concerned about screen readers and accessibility for those two inputs. Should it be its own field set with a legend of delay? And then should the two labels have title equals delay seconds and delay percentage, while still having the visually simplified S? And how can I accommodate both concerns? Simplified layout and meaningful accessibility. Don't just take my idea and say yes. Think it through based on what you know about accessibility. Great question. I can see where you're thoughtful about balancing design and simplicity with accessibility. Let's dive in to unpack this. Screen readers can rely on semantic structures, clear labels, and meaningful context. Your idea of using a separate field set with a legend for delay is smart. Field sets and legends provide semantic grouping, which is particularly helpful for users of assistive technology. Adding title attributes to labels, e.g. title equals delay seconds, title equals delay percentage is another good step, as these provide more descriptive information without cluttering the visual layout. However, while titles can be helpful, screen readers might not always prioritize them if other accessible properties like area labeled by are set up properly. Okay, so I was hoping it would mention that because I've used those, but I don't really understand them fully. So I would just put that in there not knowing if it's correct, and so I'd rather have it be correct. Here's a better approach. Okay, good. Anytime you can get AI to actually say, here's a better approach, is a win, because most of the time it'll just agree with you and be a yes man, and it's completely stupid. That's why I often put stuff like this where don't just take my idea and say yes, think it through, blah, blah, blah. Otherwise, it generally often does that, which is very irritating. However, if you have an AI that has the deep think mode, like normally Bing Copilot does, and Grok does, and ChatGPT, if you enable that mode, it'll be more blunt. It'll actually fix stuff for you rather than just saying, "Oh, you're a genius. I'm going to make you happy. Everything you say is correct." It'll actually fix stuff more. Like, it'll just be more honest. I don't know why that deep think thing isn't here today or yesterday. It might be because I'm using a weird browser. I don't know. Or I don't think you have to be signed in for that. I use it all the time. Well, maybe not actually. Because I think I am signed in on Firefox. Maybe that's why it's there. So, whatever. It's okay. So we're going to go with its suggestion. We got a legend delay, which is what I suggested. Label for delay seconds, title delay seconds. And it's saying aria hidden on the S in percentage, I guess, for some reason. Maybe so that on a screen reader those don't show up. Okay, so improving labels and screen reader compatibility. For screen readers, you want the accessible name of each input to include its full context, like delay seconds, but maintain visual simplicity with S and percentage. Here's how you can achieve this. Other considerations, make sure you associate labels. Okay. Okay. So did it do that on this one up here? Let me see. Ah, these scroll bars are awful. Okay. Your second example with the aria label and aria labeled by looks good. Please provide the whole field set with that code. All right, this is what we'll do. I think that makes sense to me, and it explained its case well enough that I'll just I'll buy into it, I suppose. Since I don't know well, I'm not going to say I don't know anything about accessibility, but my knowledge is pretty outdated, so I'm not going to pretend I'm an expert in that stuff. Wow, that got way smaller for some reason. Oh, because I don't know if I provided it the whole thing. Can you take my original code with the wrapping field set and split it into two per your suggestions? If you see any need for further additions to the book, chapter, verse, buttons, feel free to suggest changes there too. Okay, for some reason it didn't add any ARIA stuff on the radio buttons, so I guess it's fine for now. Uses the alt attribute. That's funny. To be honest, using alt and title was about all I ever did back in the day in the early 2000s for accessibility, because pretty much everyone knew that you should put an alt tag on all your images, and so I have that kind of as a habit, although I didn't do it in this case, but that's pretty much all that people did back then, and now they've added so much other stuff. Like this ARIA stuff, I don't even know what that word means, to be honest. None of that was... It might have existed. I don't know when they actually added it to the specification, but I had never seen it back when I did web development years ago. So it's kind of new to me. I'm aware of it. I've seen it all over the place now, but I don't have a full understanding of it. Okay, so let's paste this in and see if that works. I don't really like HTML comments. Like, sure, they can add some context that makes it easier to look at your own code later, but I don't know. They've always felt dirty to me, mainly because of how they look, just like the weird, you know, exclamation point dash dash. It just looks, I don't like them. I never leave HTML comments in my code. I try to comment my JavaScript pretty well. I very rarely add comments in CSS, only if it's really necessary. But I pretty much never have comments in my HTML. It just looks dirty to me. I'm sure it's fine. I just wish HTML had a more standard way to do it, like a number mark or a // you know, kind of similar to CSS, JavaScript type commenting. It's really just a personal preference. Okay. Let's try that. Okay, cool. I like that. Or wait, no. Wait a minute. We still need this, Kind of looks good, but word hide really is, okay, here's what we can do. Need to think of something to put here, but we can put word hide. No, I was gonna say I could put word hide above here on an H3 tag, kind of like this playback mode, but playback mode actually covers all of this stuff. So this is the kind of stuff that bothers me, because I want to make sense out of all of it, and it seems kind of silly to get hung up on these details, but it doesn't make sense right now. Like, really, this word hide should be over the top of all of this. I guess I could give it its own. Oh man, this is complicated because these are all part of the same radio group. So if I click this one, it unclicks that one. So they're tied together, but they're also distinctive in the sense that These two groups up here are very much alike. Same visual structure, same 4 buttons. So that makes sense to tie those together. This one has some of the same buttons, but it also has the delay stuff, so it's related, but it's not a one-to-one relationship. And that causes some minor confusion. I'm gonna just do a little bit of a mock-up here and see what it looks like if I put H3 above this. I'm just going to call this container for now. That's a nerdy title. It's actually accurate. It means a lot. Exactly what it should. But to the user, it won't mean anything. So I need to come up with a different word. So if I put word hide up here, it's saying that both of these things are word hide, which is true. Container is actually the best word in a sense because either container or boundary or something like that, because what it's going to do is it's going to repeat either just a single verse or an entire chapter or an entire book. I could have the word repeat again, but that's not accurate because it's always repeating a verse in all 3 of these cases. So if you have verse selected, it's going to repeat that one verse numerous times and then stop. If you have chapter selected, it's going to repeat each verse a set number of times. This is already getting bloated though. I wanted it all to be under one field set for a reason. So I might overrule this decision about having multiple field sets and legends because I think it's actually kind of confusing. Or one other thing I could do is it could just be a styling issue rather than semantic type stuff. So as long as I make this one styled so it drops underneath the heading of the other one, I think that would be okay. Oh, one thing I could ask is, can you have nested field sets? Technically, it will work structurally, however, this is not commonly recommended. Okay. What? Here's an example without nesting, and it literally has nesting. Notice that the field set elements for subcategories are placed within a div wrapper instead of being nested directly under the main field set. Okay. It doesn't seem like that would solve the issue, but whatever. That sounds like a hack to me. Div wrapping thing looks like a hack, if I'm being honest. Is this acceptable or accepted practice? Yeah, so you kind of have to test this out on a screen reader or something to know what it's actually going to do, and I know literally nothing about that, so. Div approach isn't ideal, but it's occasionally used for layout purposes. You really should avoid nesting, which I think is probably... I think that I'll try to avoid nesting. Not put field sets inside the field sets, so I think... I'll just have one big field set and move this stuff inside the other one. And instead of having a legend on this, I'll make it a H3 or something. Context is another good word for this. Let's put this down here. I'll just see what it says. I might just do this and overrule even if it tells me that it doesn't like it, because it's kind of complicated, but let's just see what it says. What do you think about this approach? Oh, I kind of want only one field set for it all because it's kind of related. It looks and feels disjointed when I have two field sets. So I have a couple H3 tags to break it down logically while only having one legend. Suggestions for refinement. Legend clarity. While your legend includes the word hide logo, the textual content word hide might need more description. If this is a form with specific functionality, consider expanding the legend slightly. Let's see what it says here. Or back playback settings. Improving H3 context. While H3 tags are a good solution for breaking down sections, screen readers won't automatically associate them with the legend or input fields. Adding area labeled by to associate those headings with their respective groups could improve clarity. Okay. Context heading. I always hate it. It always bugs me when there's all these extra IDs and classes for no reason, but if it's actually helpful for screen readers, I'll leave it in. I try to keep like presentation and structure kind of separate, but there's new ways you gotta learn, you gotta change it and do stuff differently sometimes. And I'll just I'll go with this probably. I don't like what it did to the legend, of course. Word back playback settings or word hide playback settings. I'll think about that. Looks fine, but I think if word hide needs more description, it should be something only visible for screen readers. It's too wordy otherwise. Can it be called word hide meditation mode, but only in something screen readers will pick up on? I want it to just be called word hide in the standard view. All right, I'm doing my best. I mean, somebody might, some accessibility expert might pull this apart, but I think it's better than not trying at all. The other thing I'm going to do with this project eventually is open source it so other people can fork it on GitHub or do whatever, and they can alter stuff in it. I don't know if I'll merge all those kind of changes back into the main project. Only if I feel like this is sort of a personal project, even though it could have a wider use for the church and other people that might be interested. Right now, it's totally just a personal project, even though I obviously am adding some features and concerns that I myself don't care about. So I do have a wider audience in mind, but at the same time, I want to enjoy using it myself for now. And so I don't want to like build it up in such a way that I think it sucks just to please a wider audience. So I'll make it how I like it right now. And then if somebody else has meaningful additions later on, once I'm done with kind of the first release, then I'll consider those kind of ideas. But right now it's not really meant to be a community project or whatever. Okay, so let's just upload that. Let's see how that works. But ultimately, I do have the whole world in mind with this. I know that sounds ridiculous, but I do have the church and other believers and people in general, people from other countries. It's all in the back of my mind, but my original intention with this is to make a tool that I can use for my own live streams. That's it. That's all I had in mind. But when I realized that it could be something bigger than that, I started expanding, and that's why I've been spending so much time on this. But So I have two kind of purposes in mind. One for myself and other streamers or whatever, and then the wider, bigger audience as well. So these need wrappers. The thing is, I'm only kind of just now thinking about all this accessibility stuff, just because AI kind of got my mind in that state. And so the rest of the project doesn't have a lot of this stuff. So this one modal dialogue will have all sorts of special features, but the rest of them, unless I go back and change them up, aren't necessarily going to have that same attention to detail. Alright, let's go into the CSS and make those flex children wrap just like the field sets do. Might be able to actually just put the whole same CSS on those. Just try it. So, as usual, I'm getting less done than I thought I would. I thought I might just get this part up and running real quick and then start some JavaScript, but might just be another CSS stream. It always gets a little bit overcomplicated. Okay, I think I see what's going on here. So, not honestly sure what this is going to do, but let's just try it. I have no idea what this is going to do. It did what I wanted it to. I want to make sure that makes sense. I think it does. And then the H3 tags, I think I'm actually going to put those in line. They probably don't even really need to be H3 tags, to be honest. It's probably overkill. Not gonna go super long too, because I need to eat something, and I need to work on some other stuff. I wanted to do this first though, just to set the tone for the rest of the evening in my own mind, and just feel like I accomplished something. But I need to work on another project. Okay, that didn't do anything. Let's see what's going on here. It's hard to think of keywords that aren't already being used, like class names and stuff. I don't know if these are used by Bootstrap or Bootstrap icons or something else, but we'll just see what happens. Okay, getting closer, but not quite there. So delay. Oh wow, that messed up the. Something messed up big time. Label icon. I don't know if that's necessary on these 4 things since they're wrapping around the thing, but I guess consistency's sake, I may as well do that everywhere. I think I'm gonna get rid of the context. Like, it. I have mixed feelings about it, but I don't like it. I don't think it's necessary. I think that makes the most sense. Excuse me. And we're not shooting for the moon here for total perfection because it's somebody else that's a UI expert. It's paid billions of dollars per day to do this kind of detailed work. Could probably nitpick it forever, but I'm just going to get it relatively close. It's getting closer. It's serviceable now. Like I'll definitely like nitpick this myself as far as like putting some spaces in between certain things. But it's really close. Like I think it's functional now. Like at least like these things aren't all weird. And then I'll probably turn this into a toggle. Let me see. But I think it's to the point now where if I wanted to, I could switch over to doing some JavaScript because it has all the inputs that are necessary to tie into the JavaScript, and then I can just work on the CSS. Although I think I might change this screen wake from a radio to a toggle. I think that would make sense. Let me see. I'll save a little bit of time here and see what AI has to tell me about this. I have this function that turns on screen awake. It currently works with a radio, but I'm going to switch it to a toggle switch. Here's the HTML for the toggle. Please update the JavaScript to work with that toggle instead. Okay, so I can get rid of that thing. And I also want to change off to on. And toggle. So can update make lock.js module above to include that logic too. All right, probably worked. It's usually pretty good at that kind of stuff. Only way to test this is to use a phone and to just unattend your phone screen for a couple minutes until it would normally turn off. And if it stays on, then it's working. If not, then it's not. So I'll test that out later. Because it won't have any effect on a desktop browser. Forgot to change this to off. Default off. It's good. Now I just need to style it so it's like centered or something. That looks good. So everything is kind of there. I just need to do a little bit of CSS nitpicking, like these need spaced out a little bit, possibly below each other, I don't know. And this delay needs to be different style. Needs to be a little space after these inputs and things like that. Otherwise, it's ready to start attaching JavaScript functions to. This one already has. This one's already fully working, except that I need to add a local storage saving of that option so that if you come back to it, it restores what you had previously and stuff like that, which every setting in the entire program needs that functionality, which is kind of a pain. Not really thrilled about having to add all that, but it needs to be there. So this all works with the radios, which is cool. I'll test this on mobile to see what it feels like when you click in these, if it brings up like a selector or number box or something. Currently you can use arrow keys in there or just type a number. Oh, and I need to add, so if you type in one, it needs to either erase the other, or I need to have some kind of radio button toggle switch between the two, because I probably, to my dismay, need to have a radio toggle, because I think it would make sense to leave the numbers that were previously stored there. But you need some way to switch between the two, because you can't do both at the same time. It's one or the other. So probably have radio buttons there, which is annoying. I don't really want to do that, but I think it's necessary for just good common sense. So yeah, I guess I'll do that. I'll figure that out next time. Need to go to the bathroom, need to eat, and I'll probably just head out for the night. I got a good amount of stuff done. I just didn't do any JavaScript like I thought I might. Which is no problem with me because I don't really enjoy writing code, so anyway, I'll have AI write most of it for me anyway, unless I can't get it to work, and then I'll have to dig into the code myself, but most of the time I can get it to work with AI, and then I don't have to rack my brain to figure out all this junk. But yeah, I think I'll head out. I have some other things I need to do after I eat, so I probably won't be back on later. But thanks for lurking, joining me. I will see you all next time.